It's Sunday, and our adventure begins right now. This is C3 Kids Online. Hey everybody, welcome to C3 Kids Online. My name is Jay, and I am so excited that you have chosen to start your week off with us right here online at C3 Kids. And it's going to be a great week because today we kick off a brand new series with 4 amazing stories that we're going to learn together from the Bible. Now, things are a little different. We're coming to you in a different way, and we hope it's going to be a fun way for us to engage each other because, it has been a long time since we've been able to be together at C3 Kids. And we can't wait to be together, and we want to be with you guys. And so we thought this might be a new fun way for us to kind of see each other and interact with each other each week as we get closer and closer to coming back to C3 and reopening C3 Kids. Okay, we have a great series for this month. You guys ready to get things started? I am. Let's go. This is our brand new series called Epic. Following Jesus can be like an epic adventure. In the Bible, we can read story after story of how God uses and moves in and through people to do incredible things. One of those stories is the story of the Israelites and how they wandered through the wilderness for 40 years. It's an epic story that shows us God's faithfulness and goodness. Our adventure begins as the Israelites find themselves wandering around in the wilderness. Do you know they wandered for 40 years? That's 40 years of walking and setting up camp and unpacking and living and then packing things back up and then traveling some more. 40 years. That's a really long time and a really long trip. All of this was to lead them to the promised land. Have you ever gone on a long trip? I mean a really, really long trip. When we go on long trips, we kind of prepare for them. We think of the things that we need or might want, and we make sure that we pack them and take them along. This summer, we're going to be taking some trips as we go on vacation and spend some time as a family. And then we're going to be thinking about some of the things that we might take with us. Here, I have a bag of some things that I thought were probably pretty good things to take with us on a trip. Let me grab the bag. So in this bag, I have some items that I think are going to be necessary for us on our trip. Let's see what we've got in the bag. Well, anytime you take a long trip, you want to make sure you've got plenty of clothes. So I've got some shirts and I've got a hat because don't want the sun to get on that. That leaves a really nasty sunburn and it hurts. So we want to make sure we're putting a hat on. We're going to need some shoes so that when we walk, we have good, comfortable shoes. And so we're going to want some shoes. And then taking a trip, you want to make sure you have some things like water. In case you get thirsty, you want some water. And our family, when we go on long trips, we take some of our favorite snacks. Some of my favorite snacks are like some trail mix with peanuts and M&Ms and raisins. They're really good to have. And then one of my favorite snacks when we're driving, I love Twizzlers. One of my favorite snacks to eat while I'm driving. And of course, I'll probably take along a few of my favorite drinks. And you guys know I love Pepsi Wild Cherry. So we'll take some of that. But we also need things like, how about a Bible? I like taking my Bible with me. I might take a book with me to read. And I might take some other things with me that are things that I think I might want or need. But there's always that time when you're away on a trip where you begin to miss a few things. Maybe it's the comfort of your bed or your pillow or a favorite blanket. Maybe you're missing some good home cooking because you're not at home and so you can't really get the home cooking that you like. Maybe it's missing a favorite TV show or a favorite toy. All of those things, those are the things that sometimes we begin to miss while we're on long trips. I bet the Israelites missed a lot of things. In fact, when we read the story of the Israelites in the wilderness, we know they missed some things from when they used to live in Egypt. They complained about them to their leader Moses. But of all of the things that they began to miss, there was one thing that they missed the most. And that was they missed feeling the presence of God with them. In all of their travels, the question they kept asking was, where is God? Well, God heard their question, and he actually came up with a way to remind them that he was always with them. Let's jump over to today's Bible story, and let's discover what God did to remind the people that he was always there for them.
Hi there, you little chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl, and welcome to Grow TV.
Welcome to Grow TV. Introducing your host, Carl, and your co-host, Cassie. Where we learn, where we grow, and we talk about Jesus. Once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Wow, I'm so excited y'all are here. But I was hoping you guys could help me figure out some questions I have. Like, if you were an animal, which animal would you be? What language is this? Are you a cat person or a dog person? Can you smell me from here? Do you have any candy? What would you do if I took your candy? How do you make someone happy? Do elephants toot? Why are dinosaurs so mean? And who is that? Just kidding. It's me, Carl. Hey, Carl. Hey, Carl. Okay, well, that was scary. But good thing I won't be scared like that anytime soon.
Hey, Carl.
Are you real? Is this real? Are you really Cassie, or is this some weird alternate reality? I can't...
It's me, Carl. Carl, relax. I heard you had some questions, and I came by to see if I could help you out.
Well, cool beans.
That's what I'm here for. Now, want to do a speed round?
Speed round?
Yeah, you ask me as many questions as you can, and I'll answer all of them.
All right. Speed round! Can chickens fly?
No.
Do they wish they could?
I think so.
Where are the dinosaurs?
They gone.
What are those things people sit on at churches?
A pew.
Can you make a laser noise?
Pew pew.
What's your biggest fear?
Probably that technology will end up taking over the world. And snakes.
Last question. What in the world is a tabernacle?
A what?
A tabernacle. I was in church the other day and the preacher man said, these people built a tabernacle.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Yes, I can. The person saw a tabernacle.
All right, I'm not sure what I expected there. Do you remember where the story of the tabernacle was in the Bible?
Yes, it was either in 2nd Hesitations or Exodus.
I think you're talking about Exodus, so let's go there. Yeah, the tabernacle, not tabernacle.
Tomato, tomato.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is a really cool story, Carl. And the tabernacle is actually something very important.
Well, what is it?
Well, in the time of Moses, God wanted to build a tabernacle. It was like a big tent that they could put up, take down, and carry wherever they wanted.
So it's just a tent? What's so special about that?
It was a lot more than a tent. God explained it was a place where they could spend time together.
Wow! So God wanted to be with them?
Of course, God wants to be with us all the time.
That's pretty cool. Well, I don't know.
What?
Well, they're in the middle of the desert, the wilderness, per se. And where I live, there's no deserts around here. And I sure don't have a tent.
So?
So that means I can't spend time with God like they did.
No, I guess you can't. Not technically like they did. But you know what?
What?
You can spend time with God in ways they never could.
Really? How?
Well, not only do we get to pray to God all the time, but we get to read God's Word whenever we want, through the Bible.
I guess I never thought about it that way. And I guess we do have the Spirit of God, too.
That's right. Now we have the Spirit of God living in us constantly, so we can spend time with God anywhere.
Wait a minute. Did you just say we can spend time with God anywhere?
Yeah,
That's
it's happening.
That's our big idea!
Today's big idea is I can spend time with God anywhere.
And on the count of 3, we're all gonna shout out the big idea.
1,
2,
3.
I can spend time with God anywhere. Good job, kiddos. You did it. Loud and proud.
Carl, I think we learned a lot today.
We sure did, Cassie. I also learned that dinosaurs don't exist anymore, which is a good thing because I'm terrified of dinosaurs.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Pro TV.
Oh, hey, welcome back. I was just reading a little bit more about the tabernacle in the Bible. Exodus chapter 35 begins to tell the story of how God called Moses and the people to gather up all sorts of different items so that they could build the tabernacle. Now, the tabernacle was a really neat place. You can see the pictures of what it might have looked like behind me. But this was a special place that God asked the people to build, and it required a very specific list of items to build. You can read that specific list in Exodus chapter 35. And then in the chapters that follow, we see how special craftsmen built and shaped and made all of the things that were necessary to go into the tabernacle. And then at the very end of Exodus, Moses takes on the task of putting it all together. And when he does, we read something really special in the last couple verses of chapter 40. I want to share those verses with you. This is from Exodus chapter 40, verses 34 through 36. This is what the Bible says. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter the tent of meeting because the cloud settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Now, throughout all of their journeys, whenever the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the people of Israel would set out. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out until the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was on the tabernacle by day, and fire was in it by night, in the sight of all of the house of Israel throughout all of their journeys. What does that mean? What that means is, after Moses had put the tabernacle together, God came and resided. He stayed in the tabernacle. When he was there during the day, there was a cloud to remind the people that God was with them. And at night, there was fire. And so anytime the people looked towards the tabernacle, they would either see a cloud in the day or a fire at night. And they always knew that God was with them. But if the cloud was gone and the fire was gone, they knew that it was time for them to pack up their belongings and move to a new location. But that didn't mean that God left them. God continued to go with them. The tabernacle was just a neat place that people could look at, worship God, and be reminded that God was always with them. The story of the tabernacle is an epic story that reminds us of the faithfulness and goodness of God. It was through the tabernacle that God reminded the Israelites that he would always be with them. And it was the tabernacle that became a place where the people of Israel could go and spend time with God, where they could worship God. That leads me to the question, where do we spend time with God? Where do we worship God? Well, most of you would say, we worship God at church, or we can spend time with God at church. And you would be right. We do spend time with God at church, and we do worship God in church. But is church the only place that we can worship God? No, it's not. In fact, what we learned today in our big idea is that I can spend time with God anywhere. It doesn't have to be at a church. We can spend time with God anywhere. But what does that look like? Well, we can read our Bibles, we can pray, we can be with other believers, and we can have conversations, and we can spend time with them. And those are all great ways for us to be reminded that God is always with us. And when God is always with us, well, we can worship him just about anywhere. Today's big idea helps us remember that. Why don't you guys practice it with me. I'll say it first, and then you can repeat after me. The big idea today is this: I can spend time with God anywhere. All right, let's say it together. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I can spend time with God anywhere. And it's true. And I want to encourage you today to take some time and worship God. Just scroll down on this page and you'll find songs and activities that you can participate in today or maybe later on this week that will help remind us that we can spend time with God anywhere. So, where can we worship God? Where can we spend time with God? Well, I can spend time with God anywhere. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. But before we sign off, let's do one more thing. Let's practice this month's Bible verse. This month's Bible verse is taken from 1 Samuel chapter 12, verse 24. It says this: "But be sure to fear the Lord and to serve him faithfully with your whole heart." Now, does that mean that we need to be afraid of God? No, what that means is that when we think about God, we think about him in a way that is worshipful, that we love him and that we want to serve him and be obedient to him. Let's read this together. "But be sure to fear the Lord and serve him faithfully with all your heart." 1 Samuel 12:24. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I have had so much fun with you as we've kicked off this new series called Epic, and this great first story of God and his tabernacle and how he promised to be with the people and how I can now spend time with God anywhere. Make sure you join us next Sunday for our next epic story here at C3 Kids Online. Until then, have a great week. Bye.